So now that we've created our attribute set and our attribute and our category, we can now create products to add to this category of our new attribute set. So what we need to do is in the back end of our site, we just have to go to Catalog, Manage Products. And from here, we can click on this Add New Product button. Now that we're in this Add New Product screen, we're going to select our attribute set. If you recall, we named our attribute set Hats. So we'll select Hats, and under Product Type, we're going to leave this as Simple Product. Now you'll notice there's Group Product, Configurable Product, Virtual Product, Bundle, and Downloadable Product. And most of these function just like they sound. However, we'll be going over creating the various product types in the next few videos. So let's just select Simple Product and click Continue. Now we have a name for our hat, and it wants a SKU, a weight, and a status. You'll notice all these things with the asterisk here in red are required fields. You'll also notice fields that we added, hat style, is showing up without a red asterisk because we did not tell it to be required. However, it is showing up. So let's create our first hat. This is just going to be a sports baseball hat. And its SKU, well, we don't have any real SKU for this, so I'm just going to enter a fake 5-digit number here. And its weight, this thing weighs about 1 pound because it's pretty light, and you'll notice the weight is in pounds because that's how the site is configured, and so all we have to do is type in a 1 here. If you want to get more precise with it, we could say 1.25 or something like that. However, just 1 for this product works. And for status, we're going to have this be enabled. For tax class, we're going to set this to be taxable goods. However, we're going to go over setting up tax classes and what they all mean in section 6. For now, just don't worry about it. Under visibility, we're going to have this be allowed to be in the catalog and in search. Its manufacturer, well, because we don't have any of these manufacturers for the hats added to our list yet, we're just going to have this be nothing. Notice it's not required. So for color, this will be a black hat, and its hat style will be a baseball hat. And we're not going to set this as a new product or anything yet, so everything on this page that's required seems to be good. Well, that's great. Let's click Prices next. You'll notice when I selected another tab here on the side, there's a little save icon next to General. This means that there has been information within this section that has been modified but hasn't been saved yet. So if we try to save this product right now, however, there's still plenty of fields that need to be filled in, so it's not going to let us. We might as well fill everything out first and then come back and modify it when we need to. So this hat's going to be $15, and we're going to keep this very basic right now. You can also enter the cost of this hat. This hat cost us $4, so it's going to be $4. This can keep track of profits for your site. Now, we don't have a special price for this or anything. However, if you did, you could set a special price from a certain date to a certain date using this calendar functionality. Other than that, we don't have a whole lot else we need to do here because we're just displaying the price. Now for meta information, we would want to have our meta title here. This would be baseball hat, and this is the information that's going to be appearing on the title of your site, which is what appears at the top of the tab here. And meta keywords and meta description will just add meta information to this page to let search engines know exactly what's on this page. However, a lot of search engines nowadays don't put a lot of weight in the meta description and meta keywords due to people using them and spamming them and being untruthful for what the content actually is. So don't put too much weight on them. However, having a meta title and description might be helpful. Now, images, let's add an image to this product. Now, since this isn't a real product, I don't have a real image. However, I did get a stock image of a baseball hat, so let me grab this from my desktop and throw it on here. Now, I've clicked Browse, I selected my file, and then clicked Upload. You'll notice that we now have this row added here to our images. If we roll over this rollover for a preview, we see this photo here. Now, we can give it a label if we'd like. We can also modify a sort order for it. Again, the lower value is going to appear higher at the top of the list. However, you'll notice by default that none of these things are checked here, these radio buttons. So we're going to want to click, we want to use this image for the thumbnail, the small image, and the base image. We'll show you exactly what those are when we're on the product page. However, you can upload several different images, maybe some that give a better viewpoint of it when it's smaller than when it's larger, and you can use them as different ones based on which of these radio buttons you check. And that's great, so let's go to description next, and this description is going to just be a paragraph about what your product actually is. It doesn't have to be a ton of information, however it should be enough to let your customers have something to go off of when they're browsing through your site so they know what they're going to be purchasing. Now, keep in mind here, we also have access to this WYSIWYG editor, and this pops up all over the site anytime you are writing content. Sometimes the WYSIWYG editor is on by default, other times it's not. This is one of those cases that if you need the editor, you can click this button, and now you have an interface to type in that's more reminiscent of something like Microsoft Word, where you can type and you can style this text, you can make it bold, italic, underline, basically with tools that you're familiar with. So that way you can style this text directly in this editor as a content editor. And then once you click submit, it's going to paste the necessary HTML code here. Now, if you're familiar with HTML, you can also just type your own HTML directly in this description. Now, again, because this isn't a real product, I don't have an actual description, so I just have some dummy text to paste in here, and that's going to be enough to just get an idea. Now, let's go to design. We don't have to change anything on design here because we're going to be using the default theme. However, if you had a custom design, you could grab a custom design for this particular page and even set it to be active from a particular date to a particular date. You could also make layout changes with this page layout. However, we're not going to get into that just yet. Now, for the rest of these, we're just going to go in and fill in the required fields, and we'll go over some of these in more in depth later on. So we won't worry about recurring profile, gift options, because this is using a global configuration setting anyways. However, we will worry about inventory. So this site is set to manage stock. And here it's saying that we have 0 in stock, and the stock availability is out of stock. So a lot of these checkboxes mean it's using the global config settings. So that means your entire site is using the same configuration. So if your entire site wasn't managing stock, you wouldn't have to worry about this, and your products would always show up if they were set to stock availability in stock. However, if you want Magento to keep track of your inventory, you're going to want to have manage stock set to yes, and quantity set to something that's higher than 0. Now, we can say we have 10 of these hats, and every single time we sell one, this number is going to get decreased by 1. So we want this to show up in the main website. So you could, if you had multiple stores running off of one website, you could limit it to what store or what website it's going in. Now, in categories, this is where it's going to appear. We want it to appear in apparel, but we also want it to appear in hats. Notice how hats has nothing in it, so it's going to be the only product in there. So we're going to have 67 products in apparel and now 1 product in hats. If we didn't have this checked, then it would only appear in hats and wouldn't appear in the root category apparel. So you're going to want to make sure both of these are checked. Now, again, we're not going to click any related products, upsells, or cross-sells for now. We're going to leave that for a later one. We're going to leave that for a later video. And custom options we're going to be going over later this section as well. Let's just click Save, and we can see our product live on our website. This product has been saved. So let's come to the home page, and let's go to Apparel, Hats. And you'll notice that the product isn't showing up. Well, why is that? Well, if you remember, when we were in inventory, sure, we said to manage stock, and we set the stock to over 10, or we set it to 10. We didn't actually check the box that said in stock. So let's come back to our page, and under Inventory, at the very bottom, Stock Availability, we're going to want to make sure it's set to in stock. Now if we save this, again, now we refresh our page, we should see our hat. And you notice it generates this entire grid as well as our hat. If we click on it, we have our description, we have an image that allows you to zoom, pan around, and if you scroll down, we see our details, we see our hat style, and we can even start tagging this product. So, congratulations, you've created your first product in Magento, and now we can get on creating more complex products. If your product still isn't showing up, feel free to check out the last video in this section, which is troubleshooting, what to do when your product doesn't show up. We'll go over all the common missteps that cause products not to show up. In the next video, we're going to show you to create custom product options to add selection and options to these products.